Being the first son is supposed to be an honor. But what happens when it becomes a curse? When the weight of a broken home rests on your shoulders. When poverty becomes your identity. When insults become your daily bread. Some men work harder. Some men pray harder. And some choose a shortcut. Tonight's story is not just about wealth. It's about desperation. It's about envy. It's about what happens when a man decides that blood is cheaper than struggle. Pause and listen carefully, because not every rich man is blessed. Some are borrowed. Today, we're diving into a really dark cautionary tale. It asks a pretty terrifying question. What's the real price of wealth, especially when you didn't earn it? This is the story of the debt of borrowed blood. So we're actually going to start with the ending. This one single ominous line is the moral that just hangs over every single thing that happens in this story. I want you to hold on to that thought as we go all the way back to the beginning. All right, so our story kicks off with a young man who's trapped. And, it's not just about being poor. He's trapped by this crushing weight of expectation and failure. This is his reality, what the story calls his coffin of humiliation. He's 28 years old, the firstborn son, so society, his family, you name it, they've all handed him this incredibly heavy title. He's supposed to be the provider, the leader, the man of the house. But here's the thing, that title, it was a total lie. The house was falling apart, the kitchen was basically empty, and his family didn't see a leader. No, they saw him as the reason for all their problems. The reality of his life was just this painful, gaping contrast to the role he was meant to play. And the insults, they were constant, and they were brutal. Just hearing "you're useless" over and over again, it wasn't just them being disappointed. It was a daily verbal beating from his own family, just chipping away at his soul until there was almost nothing left. And this was the one that cut the deepest. The insults were so specific, questioning his entire worth as a son, as a man. You're the first and this is the best you can do. That question basically framed his whole life as one big failure. It was the soundtrack to his humiliation. And that's really the crucial point here. It wasn't the leaking roof or the empty kitchen that finally broke him. It was the shame. This feeling of carrying his family's judgment around like a dead weight, like a coffin he could never, ever put down. And that kind of desperation, well, that's what opens the door to darkness. His only real escape was crashing at his wealthy friend's apartment, and it was there, surrounded by a life he was so jealous of, that his desperation would find a very dark opportunity, a secret that was about to change absolutely everything. See, his friend was always super secretive about where his money came from. He was always so calm. So one night, just fueled by this desperate, gnawing hunger for answers, our guy makes a decision that changes his life. He doesn't go home. He hides under the bed, turning simple curiosity into a total violation. And this is what he sees, a ritual, and it's shockingly simple. It's repeatable. There are no fancy tools, nothing complicated, just 3 candles, a specific shelf, and these ancient, heavy-sounding words. And the result? Money, just pouring out of the shelf like water from a tap. But the source of that money, my God, it was horrific. When he finally gets the nerve to open the shelf himself, he finds his friend's family. Now, they weren't physically stuck in there. They were spiritually enslaved, their very life force being drained and literally converted into cash. This was the terrible, terrible secret. Discovering this is the point of no return. Faced with this horrifying truth, he doesn't run away screaming. No, he sees a way out of his own coffin of humiliation. And this is the terrifying logic of a completely broken man. The horror he felt was instantly replaced by this raw anger, this sense of total injustice. He didn't see the secret as a curse. He saw it as an opportunity that he felt he deserved. In his mind, his own suffering completely justified the monstrous thing he was about to do. So he goes back that night, performs the ritual himself, and when that ancient voice answers from the shelf, he doesn't even hesitate. He seals the deal, trading the family that shamed him for the wealth he's been craving his entire life. So the bargain is struck. The money starts pouring in. But as you know, every supernatural deal comes with some fine print, and the cost of this particular fortune, is about to become terrifyingly clear. His life just explodes with luxury, right? We're talking cars, clubs, lavish gifts for everyone. But every single shopping spree, every party, it had a direct price. Back home, his family started to just decay. They got sick, they grew weak, their vitality was literally being drained away to fuel his new life. And then the first crack in this perfect life appears. The friend, the one who showed him the path in the first place, dies. Suddenly, unexpectedly, in a car crash. It's the first real hint that this kind of wealth doesn't exactly lead to a long and happy life. It's a warning. That night, the voice from the ritual comes back, and it has a chilling clarification. This wasn't a gift. Oh no, it was a loan. The wealth was temporary, and the contract had a very, very specific expiration date. Suddenly, it all came down to a ticking clock. He had 4 years. The deal was never to make him rich forever. It was just to give him a taste of that life before the debt came due, and the ritual took him as the final payment. So, with his time running out, did he repent? Did he try to fix things? No. He escalated. In his final, desperate act, the bill for all of his borrowed blood would finally come due. He decides he's going to make another sacrifice to try and extend his time, and he chooses his girlfriend, who's been getting suspicious. But she outsmarts him. She secretly starts a live stream to her social media followers. All of a sudden, this ancient dark magic is broadcast to the modern world in a flood of frantic online comments. Her followers traced her location, and the police burst in right at the critical moment. His ritual is interrupted, his secret is blown wide open, and for the very first time, when that shelf opens, it's not money that pours out. It's the screams of his imprisoned family. But even in prison, that clock doesn't stop ticking. He starts aging unnaturally fast, his body paying the price of all that borrowed life force. And then, on the exact 4-year anniversary of his first ritual, right on schedule, the debt is collected. He just collapses and dies. And so, we end right back where we started. The wealth was never truly his. It was a loan, taken out against the lives of other people, a debt of borrowed blood. And in the end, that kind of debt, it always, always has to be repaid. It kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? When we see these fortunes that seem to come from nowhere, who's quietly paying the price?
They say money answers all things, but they never tell you what it asks in return. He wanted respect. He wanted silence from the insults. He wanted to feel powerful. And for a moment, he did. But wealth that comes from darkness never stays in the light. 4 years. That was the price. And when the debt matured, it collected. Not with noise, not with mercy, but with finality. So if you ever feel pressured to become something overnight, remember this. Anything that demands your bloodline is not a blessing but a trap. So be careful, because some riches build families while others bury them.